Netflix, the world's largest streaming platform, just released NASCAR Full Speed yesterday, January 30th, 2024, and within 24 hours of its release, the show had already cracked the top 5 new releases in the United States. As you can see, I'm a big NASCAR fan, have been for nearly 20 years. I cover the sport daily on Out of the Groove. I watched all 5 Netflix episodes, which come out to nearly 4 hours of total content, and today I'm going to break everything down from a NASCAR fan's perspective, while also trying to identify elements that may hook a non-NASCAR fan.
Hello!
He still plays Mario Kart.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's how I get ready.
Yeah.
This is Super Mario.
NASCAR Full Speed is a docuseries that focuses on the final 11 races of the 2023 season, beginning with the regular season finale at Daytona, then covering the 10 playoff races which determined last year's Cup Series champ. It was produced by Word and Pictures as well as NASCAR Studios. Ben Kennedy, Tim Clark, Dale Earnhardt Jr. are among the credited executive producers. I'll cut to the chase. NASCAR Full Speed is very good. I think it's a strong entry point into the sport while still providing enough behind-the-scenes content to keep the hardcore fan engaged. NASCAR Full Speed manages to capture the passion and drama of professional stock car racing without ever going overboard. Nothing in this show feels overblown, over-dramatized, or forced. I cover the sport every single day. This was a very authentic retelling of last year's championship fight. Naturally, this show will be compared to Netflix's other well-known racing documentary, Formula One Drive to Survive, and I know a common complaint from F1 fans is that show leans into the melodrama, occasionally creates conflict that doesn't really exist. That does not happen in NASCAR Full Speed. This show is extremely authentic. Now, that could be a bad thing. It may prevent some casual viewers from truly getting invested, viewers who want the melodrama. But I think it's good that the show is so genuine. NASCAR is genuinely a tense sport. This show captures that authentically. I think that's important. But now let's get into more specifics. Specifically, the main characters, if you will. Denny Hamlin is the star of this show. He is by far the strongest part of the first episode in particular.
I have a big jet, a big house, nice shit. I fucking earned it.
He's cocky, he's arrogant, he's honest. He's the aging veteran who's still trying to reach the top of the mountain in the final years of his career. There's a real sense of urgency. He looks like someone who should be on my television screen.
How many races have you done?
600.
That's too many.
Only 150. Ugh.
I know many existing NASCAR fans aren't the biggest Denny supporters, but Denny Hamlin does a fantastic job in this first episode in particular, hooking the casual viewer. I think a lot of maybe newer NASCAR fans will watch this show and find themselves rooting for Denny Hamlin by the end of it. He's in the twilight of his career, and now he's more challenged than ever. He's racing for one team while co-owning a completely different organization. That dynamic is very interesting, and Netflix spends a ton of time exploring it. The climax of Denny Hamlin's story is at the end of episode 4, and I believe it will leave many newer fans wanting to see what happens next. I really want Denny Hamlin's dad to enjoy that cigar with MJ one day. I really do, man. It brought a tear to my eye. All of 2311 Racing, the team Denny Hamlin co-owns, stands out in this show. It's clear that Denny Hamlin and 2311 granted way more access to Netflix than any other team and driver. 2311 let Netflix into team meetings. Michael Jordan is heavily present, especially the first couple episodes. And Booty Barker, Bubba Wallace's crew chief, is perhaps the breakout star of the show.
I guess I'll lie to your ass.
A few other names worth mentioning. William Byron. I'll give him credit. He makes an effort here. He's not the most dynamic personality, but it was nice to see him open up and let us into his life. We learn about his iRacing roots, his love for Legos. We see him showing more confidence at the shop, addressing large crowds, public speaking. There are moments where he comes off a little dry, a little overly corporate. You can tell that Hendrick Motorsports has gotten to him. But I did want to give William Byron some credit. One thing I wish is that we'd gotten more of Ross Chastain. Chastain. He's only really in episode 3. Now, Netflix does a great job introducing him, showing his controversial history, highlighting his aggressive driving style, humanizing him, showing off his humble watermelon farmer beginnings. There was one scene, perhaps the most cheesy moment of the show, where Ross is watching Actions Detrimental, Denny Hamlin's podcast, and kind of, arrogantly compares his career to Denny's. It came off as a little cheesy to me, but perhaps it was totally authentic. If anything, it was at least an interesting peek into the mind of Ross Chastain. Ryan Blaney is great in the show, though he really only shows up in the second half of the series, which I guess tracks because that's when he turned it on in the playoffs last year, winning 2 of the final 6 races. Fans will notice, however, that several big-name drivers are completely absent. Like Kyle Busch barely gets any screen time. Kevin Harvick, hardly any screen time. Even Martin Truex Jr., he has a few bits here and there, but not much. You'll notice all 3 of those guys are veteran drivers. They've made their money. Perhaps they didn't feel it was worth it to have Netflix follow them around for 4 months. But then there's Chase Elliott, who didn't make the drivers' playoffs last year, but is the sport's most popular driver. He basically doesn't exist in this universe. I don't think he was on camera once. He was a background extra, basically, which shocked me. I figured they'd try to shoehorn him in somewhere. I honestly don't mind it, though. Chase Elliott has his fans. He's the most popular driver. This is a great opportunity to give these other young drivers with great personalities a chance to shine. I could go into more specifics, but I don't want to spoil too many of the best one-liners for y'all. The show is very fast-paced. It does not drag. But in some ways, I would argue it's a bit too surface level. Like Kyle Larson, for example. There's a lot of talk in the show about how great he is, how he's a generational talent, but we never bring up his dirt racing success.
He is maybe the most talented race driver on earth.
I could see many non-NASCAR fans rolling their eyes when they hear that line. 5 episodes honestly may not have been enough time. They try to pack a lot of information in here. In the first couple episodes, they try 3 different times to explain the regular season and playoff formats. It's complicated. I could easily see that information going in one ear and out the other. To me, the show was most engaging when they could isolate the drivers and their families and some key members of the team. The stuff we could have seen on TV is good, is interesting, it's well edited, it's tense, it's dramatic. But the moments at home, the moments in the hauler just before or just after the race, the glances into team meetings, to me, those were the most interesting parts of the show. That's where we see a lot of these drivers at their most vulnerable, real, raw emotion that Fox and NBC just rarely are able to capture. But like I said earlier, none of it ever feels inauthentic. This show takes itself extremely seriously. Honestly, I was a bit surprised when I opened it up and saw that it had a rating of TVMA for a lot of cursing, a lot of F-bombs, uncensored F-bombs. The pressure, the passion, the intensity is tangible. I could feel it sitting on my couch in a way that I don't always feel it watching the live broadcasts at home every Sunday. Netflix was able to go deeper than we've seen any broadcast go in many, many years. Credit to the drivers and teams that collaborated for allowing this kind of unprecedented access, because I could see this show doing wonders for NASCAR's growth, especially amongst younger audiences. Again, many folks will compare it to F1 Drive to Survive. Who knows if this show will reach that same level of popularity? It's probably unlikely. But I do hope this becomes an annual project where every year playoff drivers get to be on the Netflix show. Hopefully more drivers open themselves up. They see the opportunity that's there. Drive to Survive wasn't a success in the US overnight. It took a couple of seasons. I could see NASCAR Full Speed potentially following a similar trajectory. So I really hope this isn't one and done. I really hope Netflix greenlights a season 2, because I think there's something in this show for everyone. For existing NASCAR fans, for other motorsports fans not familiar with stock car racing, and even total newbies. It's not perfect, but NASCAR Full Speed is exactly the kind of content NASCAR needs in this day and age. If you've seen NASCAR Full Speed, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Did you enjoy it as much as I did? Did you have any of the same nitpicks I did? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed. We talk stock car racing every single day. I'll see you in the next video, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in.